Good morning. So today I have Nathan with us, who is the CEO and co-founder of Cartera, a home for your specific community. Nate has co-founded several different businesses, has led a lot of businesses to success, and has successfully led forecasting, development, and management of thousands of employees, partners, which is something that's so important because one mishap can lead to a domino effect, which can cause a lot of companies to suffer. Let's welcome Nathan on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom, where he will tell us about what he's learned along the way and what we can learn from his learning specifically. Hi, Nathan. How are you doing today?
No, good. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us, Nathan. Any plans for Wednesday today?
Wednesday. This is one, and some more meetings. I got some good exercise in today, and finish
Being
the day strong, I
healthy.
guess. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
look,
yeah, yeah.
working
Definitely, I
out.
definitely need to eat lunch at some point. So maybe I'll get to that after
Okay.
this.
Sounds good. So, Nathan, can you tell us about your company, what your company does?
Sure. Pay Cartera, as you said, is a home for people's communities. We are looking for practitioners, event organizers, and personalities of all kinds to come and host a community around their offering. So, if you have a practice you sell, an event you throw, whether that's a party, a festival, or you're just somebody who's popular and has something to teach people, we can help you build a way for people to gather around you without ads, take payments, and host events without having to rely on subscriptions.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. My next question follow up would be for that is a lot of companies, for example, if they're hosting an event or if they're hosting anything, they would just go out, search for a place that they would rent out and set it up themselves. So why would people choose something like this for them to host events?
Yeah, I mean, when you bring a community around what you do, in the end, you're going to generate more revenue and you're going to close more deals. If you just have a button on your website, for example, that says, here's my shopping cart, go ahead and book a time with me. Maybe a few percentage of people are going to do that. But when people are looking to do business with you, they want to go out and learn other things. They want other content into one place so that they can like see what was been written about you and what you're saying on social media and things like that, and also the chance to talk to each other. So if you're going to have a community, you really need to make sure that they're able to talk with each other at an event. We bring some of these elements into a hybrid interface. So if you want to use us for a ticket scanner at the door to your event and be a souped up Eventbrite, we can do that. But if you just want to have like a live people tuning in as well and talking to each other and chatting and looking at stuff, we can facilitate that too. Again, you're probably most brands doing this now in several places, and we try to bring it for your community member into one interface that's easy to find you at and do business
Yeah,
with you at.
okay. So making it much more efficient. Okay, that makes sense. So I think a lot of it has to do with branding, like you mentioned. So I think, according to you, what like whether it's an event branding, whether it's self branding, according to you, Nathan, what makes a person's brand successful or stand out? Because these days everyone's in the market space, everyone's using social media to brand
What a
themselves.
question! What makes a
So
gosh? Yes. Well,
I'm just curious.
I've driven a lot of brands into the ground too. So I loved your intro, but it goes both ways. I think there's some core elements that definitely happen in today's online brands or hybrid brands, which we maybe didn't have years ago. I think of things like followers. Advertising's been around a long time, but how you get people to follow you across places. We're all doing more things with video on YouTube, podcasts, content marketing. To try to cast these nets to build an audience. But there's a difference in how people feel about something that's transactional and when they really love your brand. And when someone loves your brand, they feel part of it. And the real way that we find to drive that is synergy and cohesion, is to build a community, is to build interactions that are happening with your customers, with each other, not just with you. And sometimes that happens on social, and there's a brand we follow and people get into it with it. Sometimes that happens on a group page. Sometimes it happens like you said, an actual live event. But we pay a lot more to go to a concert than a movie. And in the end, it's because I can not just enjoy the show, but I can talk to the person on the left and the right of me about something I care about. And so finding ways to let your customers, your partners, and your employees, investors, everyone come together and be part of a community I think in today's world really makes for a strong brand.
Okay, follow-up question regarding that. So I think a lot of influencers, a lot of people who share their lives on social media tend to forget the fine line between sharing and oversharing. And I think that usually causes them to be scared. Okay, this is as in like I'm sharing so much. And then sometimes they even face backlash for some things that they shared that might be considered normal to them. But for people, it would be like absurd. For example, oh my God, are you actually spending this much on these much groceries? Or an example like that. So how do you
Yeah, well, I
create
think
the fine
there's
line?
yeah, there's two things going on there. I mean, you're like you said, you're sharing. If you're a creator, if you're creating content and you're putting it out on a platform that is advertising based and that is built around engagement, you are fighting a losing battle around your content just to start. Now, it's great to have free videos hosted on YouTube, and we suggest people do that. And some people might find you that way. It's possible. But remember, those platforms are designed to push people towards each other. What you're reading and looking at is not what's really happening in like time and things of like timing. So there's a lot of people that are backlashing because the communication medium is polluted, and that might mean that something's being pushed at you of something negative said because it's going to create backlash and create conflict and increase engagement on the platform. Um, you know that could also look like just being served an ad and nobody wants to watch it. So I think what's happening there when you're asking about a line is there's got to be a real pure communication flow, and that's not happening in chat boxes on YouTube. It's got to be a little bit more integrated than that. That's something we can definitely help with, but brands have to live across platforms these days, and you really need to always remember what does it look like for your customer. How are they connecting with me? Where content are they watching? Where? And then how are they talking to each other? And am I giving them the chance to do that?
Yeah, that's true. I think it's all about customer centricity these days. If you're
You got to
understanding
know.
your
Yeah, you got to listen.
customers,
You got to hear. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. You got to engage. You got to. It's got to be back and forth. Yep.
I think there's so many people in the market that these days that, as in, like, if you're listening to your customers, you're more likely to stand out, and if you're not, you're just gonna go and fail, like many other businesses. So I
Well,
think
and you
that
got to know who your customers are. Pick out your buying
exactly.
personas and go after them, find them. Yeah.
Exactly. So my last question, Nathan, would be: is your company hiring? What kind of positions are open? Because it definitely sounds like an amazing company, and I know a lot of people that would love to work for a company like this. So would love to hear what open roles
Yeah,
you
well,
have.
be careful what you work for. I mean, most of us, we're still very early stage, and we do hire outside engineering roles for on a project basis. We always have kind of the next thing we know we're trying to build based on what's coming in from the customers, and we're always aggressively trying to piece together projects with the best people. We find that's a good way to kind of introduce somebody into an organization and see if there's a cultural fit, which we really find important.
Now, culture fit is something that's so important because I mean, skills are something that is required to do the job, but for a cultural fit, I think you need to fit in like a piece of a jigsaw. Just because if you don't fit, you're more likely to be in an environment where you're not happy and you're making other people unhappy as well. So, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and that could be skills based. It could, I don't. We have a global staff, and of every type of people, and we come from very different cultures, all of us. But the business itself, we operate at a certain timing, and we're totally distributed. So you got to be comfortable with certain tools, and so some of that's just like until you kind of work together a little bit, you really don't know. Is the workflow gonna flow for everybody emotionally?
No, no, it makes sense. I think the perfect way to sum this up is that differences can coexist while you can work together in harmony and synchronized way. So, Nathan, our time is up. It was an absolute pleasure learning from you about your wonderful company, how your company is growing, and how it's spread out throughout the world, and much more about branding and how you can make yourself stand out. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day.